Hey there my friend, I'm Abby, creator and owner at Abbi Kirsten Collections, and today we are making this fun fall tree pop-up card design with our Cricut machine. The supplies you're going to need for this project are a cutting machine, you'll need some medium weight cardstock such as 65-pound weight cardstock, you'll need a cutting mat, a brayer tool, a scoring stylus or scoring wheel, and some craft glue. Let's go ahead and visit Design Space first for the setup, and then we'll go ahead and make this project. Okay, so I just want to go over a few basics here in Design Space. You're going to need to download this SVG file. They are available linked below this video. You can find this design and many other fall pop-up cards and lots of other projects waiting for you. So to bring this file in, you'll need to visit the upload function here in the design panel. And then you're going to click on upload image, and you can either browse your Finder this way or drag and drop the SVG file directly in here. Okay, so here's the preview I got after dragging that file over. I'm going to click upload at the bottom corner there, and it's going to bring it into recent uploads here in Design Space. I'm going to select it under recent uploads and then add it to my canvas. And of course currently had the existing one that we started with on our screen, so I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of this. There is also another SVG file included with some bonus fall leaves, so if you want to play around with those with decorating the outside of the card, and I also have some other suggestions for you, make sure you check out that SVG. It's included with this as well. The first thing we need to do is we need to ungroup this file, so right click on it and ungroup. And then I want you to select the largest piece that we have here, which is the base of our card, and you can see that it's just about 11 inches at its widest point. We could take this up to 11.5 inches because the Cricut mat is going to, a standard 12 by 12 Cricut mat is going to hold 11.5 by 11.5 for the largest cut size. If you happen to be using a 12 by 24 inch mat and you want a super big card, you could go that route, but just know that usually 11.5 is good for card sizes. Dealing with this particular card, it is important to make sure that you do not scale down, especially if you're going to opt to use these intricate cut pieces here, because it's going to get really hard for Cricut to cut with things being too tiny. So what I recommend is if you do make scaling adjustments, and I'm going to bring mine up just a little bit, you want to click and drag over all of these pieces so that when you're scaling, all the pieces remain proportional to one another. So I'm going to come to one of these corners here, and I'm just going to scale up just a little bit. I'm going to click off, I'm going to click this piece again, and we can see it says 11.59. That's a little over, so I'm going to take it down just a hair. There we go, 11.44. That's within that 11.5 width and height range there. The next thing you want to do is you want to set all of these black lines here to score operation, and then attach your score lines to the object you wish to score. So looking over here in my layers panel, I can see this score line right here, which goes down the center of this card. And I've selected that. I'm going to go up to the operation and I'm going to change it to score. If you click off, you're going to see that score line appear. Now it's super important that you select the score line and the base of the card, and you use your attach tool at the bottom of the layers panel to hold the placement of that score line. If you don't do that, then your score line is going to go onto a separate mat at this time, and it's not going to stay where you want it. So rinse and repeat that with the other score lines here. We have this score line and this one, and I'm going to come over here and change them to score. I'm holding my shift key as I click here in the layers panel, and that allows you to cherry pick your selection rather than needing to drag over the screen and over the objects on the screen. So I have those two lines set to score. I have the base selected. I'm going to attach that, and then we have another set of score lines right here, and I'm going to change that operation to score. I'm going to select the base cut that I want that score line to be attached to. Whoops. This one, holding my shift key, and that one, and we're going to hit attach so that holds the placement of that score line. Make sure you save your project and give it a name. That way you don't ever have to do this setup again in the future. So that's essentially it for setting up this card. Now I did mention that these are rather intricate cuts here. So we will be using the cardstock for intricate cut setting for these particular mats here when we go to load that paper. Now if for any reason you decide to scale this card down, or maybe your particular paper isn't working well with these intricate cuts, or you're using a different cutting machine than me and you don't have the same setting, then I also want you to be aware that there is a non-intricate version included in the files as well. So if you're wanting to just have the tree where you can see the brown branches poking through, and then you can have the colors, and then if you want, you can cut out some of these individual leaves and place them around on the tree individually, and it would eliminate the need to go for these intricate cut styles here. So I'm basically just providing you an alternative option, and that's completely up to you and what you're looking for in your results. But like I said, cardstock for intricate cuts for this one over here, and you don't want to reduce the scale of it too much because it's going to get really difficult for Cricut to cut out. So that's just a little side note for you there. Let's go ahead and get this project cut out. I'm going to be using my Maker 3 machine, and we're going to proceed to the cut screen, and it's going to separate all of our layers by color here. And we're going to just go through each of these mats. So this one here, I would cut out cardstock for intricate cut setting, and then so forth from there, getting all these different layers cut out. When you get to a mat that has these score lines, you're going to be prompted by Cricut to either place a scoring stylus into clamp A, or if you're using a Maker machine and you own a scoring wheel, you may be prompted to see that. If you don't own the scoring wheel, but you do have the Maker machine, it's going to default to this. So just make sure you click on Edit Tools and then select the scoring stylus instead, and you can swap it out that way. Okay, let's go ahead and get this cut out. All right, so this cut is done. I'm going to press the double arrow flashing button to unload my mat. I'm going to flip my mat over and peel the mat away from the cardstock material. That's just going to help minimize the curling. Take your time, especially if your mat is new and sticky. And then we're going to go ahead and just repeat with all the other colors of cardstock and get all of our layers cut out. So I do want to note, with these intricate pieces here, I recommend using the cardstock for intricate cut setting. This is super important because you don't want to end up with a lot of tears or anything. If you don't wish to mess with dealing with cardstock for intricate cuts, or you have a particular cardstock you're wanting to use and it's just not playing nicely with it, there is a file, like I said, that will be free from those little cutouts, but you could definitely glue some leaves that I've included. So that's an alternative option for you. So I just want to make sure you're aware of that. I am going to be featuring these. I used a textured cardstock for this, and I found that even though it cut just fine, I still had to sort of wiggle out some of the cutouts because it was sort of clinging to the paper. So just know that you might need to kind of loosen it depending on the cardstock you are using. I found that smooth cardstock played a little nicer with it than the textured. So that's just a side note for you. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this piece first that has the slit at the top here, and you're going to actually glue these to either side of it, okay? So I'm going to use my Barely Art glue, and I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to dot some glue, and then we're going to add one of these on this side. I want to make sure that when you add this, the slot that's here is facing up, and then you want to repeat that on the other side as well. So I'm just going to come back in here with some more glue. Again, make sure that this is the part that's facing up with the slot, not down. Okay, so your first piece should look something like that. And then you're going to grab this piece here and you want to add it so that, again, the two slots are up. So the top part of this tree is just going to get glued right there in that space. And you'll see that the little branches here fall nicely around those slots, okay? Okay, so once you have those two pieces together, it's time to go ahead and actually connect them, interlock them. So this top part here and this bottom part are going to go together, just like so. So you're going to slide them so those two grooves are going between each other, and it'll just work its way up until it's settled. So the bottom here has these grooves, one on each of the four corners. So we're going to be taking these pieces, there are 4 of these, we're going to be interlocking them first, and then we're going to be nesting them into these 4 grooves, okay? When you look at these 4 pieces that you have, you're going to notice there are 2 different ones. There's one that has a little groove and a slot right here, and then the other one has the slot at the top of the curve there. So you'll have 2 of each of those, and then what you're going to do is you're going to take the opposite. So this one here has the groove that's right there on the inner side. This one has the groove that's coming out of the top. You're going to interlock them like this. Okay, so it should look something like that, and you're going to repeat again. So you're going to have 2 pieces that look like that once you've interlocked them together. Then you want to take them so that they kind of form a diamond shape. So hold them like that. And you're going to notice that these 2 ends will have grooves that line up so that you can press those together. So that's one side, and then this other side here has the little grooves as well. And it'll look like this once you get it together. And we're going to grab one of these little guys. You'll see these in the templates. I want you to hold it so that it looks like an H. Okay, it's got that little connector point in the middle, so hold it like it's an H. And then you're going to fold it like you're folding the 2 H points, the top and the bottom, together. So you want it to look like that. It's been folded. So I'm taking this and I'm adding some glue to the inside of that little piece, coming to this corner here, and you're gonna just sit it down right on top. And this stops it from coming apart on us when we're trying to interlock everything else in just a few minutes here. You might need to hold it for a moment or 2 to get your glue to grab. This is definitely the case for me. And then I want you to repeat on this side as well. Once you get that, you want to make sure you kind of take a second and move it back and forth a little bit. You want to make sure the mechanism is always moving smoothly, because this is what's going to allow us to open and close the card successfully. Everything's looking nice and smooth there. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside for just a second. We're going to grab this piece again now. You want to flip it over, and this part here that's kind of moving back and forth and it's making it a little unstable, you want to take another one of those pieces we were just working with, fold it, and you're going to add glue, and you're going to place it over that so that it stabilizes the entire thing, okay? So I'm going to open that up. All right, so for this next part, you're going to fold your little tree down. You're going to take this piece, which is the base, and then before we go any further, these tabs here that stick out, I want you to fold them up. Just like that on each side. So they should be folded up so they look like that. And if you're looking at it from the top, it would look like that. Then I want you to get this threaded through. So you'll have to just sort of get it moved up carefully with it all collapsed, and then you'll reopen this out. And if you look closely here, you're going to see this slot right here needs to go into this slot, and you're going to do that on all 4 sides. You'll see it's very obvious when it's in person. You'll see that the slots are going to go like that. Now it'll take a second to get it all coordinated, so be patient with the process. Okay, so once you got that in, you will know it's right because everything will be nice and flush with each other. It'll all look even all the way around. Okay, so at this point, I want you to pick up the next 2 pieces, which in my case are the reds. So the red pieces here are going to go on next. You're going to notice that they kind of are sort of opposites of each other. So we're going to come to this corner here, and there's slots on all sides. So it's basically going to be a repeating pattern. And if you don't feel like you've nailed it right the first time, I'll show you as I go what to look for. So this part's going to slide in here like this. And then this one's going to go on the opposite side, sliding in like this. And the one way you'll know you have these parts correct is when you look at the remaining piece here, these slots will be opposites to each other. So this one out here is going down, but this one's going up. This one in the center is going up, but this one in the center of this one's going down. This one's going up, and this one's going down. That's how you'll know that you have the right sides. And don't worry if you get it wrong the first time. You can undo this very easily and get it right. It's not a permanent fixture. So you're going to start by taking this last piece here, And you want to focus on the center. I kind of fold these just a little bit gently to get that paper to sit in there like that first. Then you're going to come to these. We have our slot right here, our slot right here, and you're basically going to interlock them so they're hugging, and it might sort of slip out of place temporarily until it all gets fit snugly back in its position. So don't be surprised if that happens. You can see it's happening in mine here. So you can see how I have that one side there that we just interlocked. Now we got to repeat on the other side, interlocking those two. Just like that. So that's what it should look like, and you'll see that it's nice and stable once you get those opposite sides interlocking to each other. Okay, then you're going to do the same thing on this side, exactly the same way. Get focused on the center part first. So here's where we're at with our tree. Everything is working well. I'd recommend at this point you go ahead and sort of close it each direction so things are getting lodged exactly where they're supposed to, and you're making sure that everything is sitting as it should. There's not any difficulty. So we're going to go back this way. So one last thing we want to do. You might notice how this is sliding off. If that happens to you, which it does happen to me most of the time when I test these, we're going to add a couple more of these to help secure it. So mine just completely popped out there, which we do not want to happen when we go to put it in our card, because then the whole mechanics of it would kind of fall apart. So what we can do to prevent this from popping apart is you'll see here that we can take these and we can basically add a couple more, call them like little stoppers, I guess you could call them for being technical here. So I'm going to fold that in half, and then we would thread that right over just like we did on those other things, and it's going to hold it in its position. It's not going to let it pop apart. So I'm just going to put a little glue on each side here so it's waiting for me when I slide that over. So we've got that little piece, and I'm going to slide that down. That's just going to help hold that position from popping out, and you're going to again need to sort of hold it until it grabs, okay? And I'm going to do that one more time on the opposite side over here. So one more of these little stopper lock pieces. I'm going to fold it in half and put a little bit of glue right where I know I'm going to slip it over that point where I don't want things to fall apart on me. All right, now we can go ahead and move on to the exciting part, actually putting it into the card. So here is the cover of our card. We're going to go ahead and fold that in half along the score line. Just like that. And then you're going to want to open this up so it's in front of you. And then the next two pieces you'll need will be these insert pieces. And you'll notice that they have slots on them here. And the slots are going to be where you put in these little folds and we secure with glue so that the card will open and close, okay? So first things first, you want to make sure you have these aligned in the right direction. So these go back to back. You will actually glue the little seat back to back. Before we do that, go ahead and fold along the score lines, because remember there was score lines here. So we're going to fold here, and we're going to fold at the base there, and there's one more fold line right here, okay? So basically it should look like a seat when you're done with it, okay? So we just want to make sure we got that fold line correct there before we go any further, and make sure you have it in the right location. The big open space over here on this piece should be going over where the open part of your leaf is, like that, okay? And then I'm also just going to sort of fold this one back for now. So get your tray flattened so it'd be like in the closed position basically with these tabs here. And you're going to go ahead and take one side and you're going to thread those tabs through. So this might be what I would consider one of the trickier parts, just because it's a little like top heavy for a moment. But once you get that in there, go ahead and flip it like so and just add some glue and fold those over. Again, super important that you hold this for a few seconds to let that glue grab. You don't want to try and stress anything by opening something up too prematurely, because it will just pop right off. So give that glue a chance to grab. So the next part is you're going to thread that other side through the other side of this piece of the card. Make sure you get it on the right side before you go too far. It is easy to get confused sometimes. I have done it and had to whittle it off again. It's a lot going on at once. So I'm going to go ahead and hold that for a few seconds. Okay, so while I'm holding that there and it's grabbing with the glue, I'm going to grab my Barely Art glue again, and I'm going to add glue to this part of the card because we need to fasten all that in now. And you want to be fairly generous with your glue. Okay. So this is side one here that we're going to place on. Just pay attention to where you're sitting it, where the fold line is. Make sure you're getting it lined up before that glue really grabs hold. Tuck this underneath, that way it doesn't get glued down. I'm going to flip this to the other side, get it aligned like so, and press it. I'll go ahead and close this here to make sure everything is sort of folding right where it's supposed to. Okay. And again, you may want to give this a good 30 seconds to a minute to sort of grab before you start doing anything, because when you start opening this up, it's going to take a couple times of it opening and closing to get it kind of all gelled together. But there's going to be a little stress on the base here, so you want to make sure that glue has had a chance to grab before you get carried away and excited with opening that up. And if you notice there's some places lifting, you may want to go back in and add a little more glue, because that does happen. It's a big area to cover with glue. Okay, so right here, we need to finish this off by gluing these two back to back. So that's super easy because all we need to do is come in with a little glue here, take care of that, and just take a second to get it aligned. All right, so our tree's coming along. There is this part to cover the bench in its final color, and then there is also a street lamp to go with our final part of our pop-up card here. So just go ahead and fold along those score lines, and then make sure they're going the right direction. I kind of fold them back and forth each direction because I want it to be nice and creased, like that, okay? And then you're going to need to add a little glue to the bench. And then we have the little lamp here, and this is super easy, so you'll just put a little glue there, and we want the light to be inside of it, so we'll put that little yellow piece right there, and then add some more glue. One of the reasons I love the Barely Art glue is because it does dry clear, so if I don't get it all right in the perfect location, it doesn't matter, you can't see it once it's dried. And then we'll add some glue right here to the base of this to stick right behind our bench. So at this point, your pop-up card is complete. It's good to go, but you can always dress it up a little bit more. So you'll notice in the templates that there are some layered leaves. I like to take this one and I'll layer it together, and you can kind of position it here, or if you want to close the card and position it on the back side over here, then you could absolutely do that too, to create like a little end scene to it. Have fun with it. There are some extra fall leaves included as well, so I think it can be fun to come in here and glue some around the base, so it sort of looks like the tree kind of shook all his leaves out all over the place. So you can come in and glue all of that. Here is how our fall tree card turned out. Let's go ahead and close it up just like that. Super cute. On the back side here, I'm just gonna add this as like a final note to it. So we're gonna grab this. Okay, and I'm just gonna put that on the back there. This makes a beautiful handmade card that your recipient is going to love and is going to want to, you know, display in their home. And it just captures a really pretty warm fall scene. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Make sure you go and download these templates. I have an entire collection of fall pop-up cards, lots of more paper crafts and SVG files. I hope to see you there, my friend. I'm Abby Kirsten, your friend in the pursuit of craftiness. Bye for now.